سقته عند كل شر. يا من يؤتي الكثير بالقليل، يا من يؤتي من سأل، يا من يؤتي من لم يسأله ومن لم يعرفه تحننا منه ورحمة. أعتني بمسألتي إياك جميع خير الدنيا وجميع خير الآخرة، واصرف عني بمسألتي إياك جميع شر الدنيا وشر الآخرة، فإنه غير منقوس ما أتيت. وزدني من فضلك يا كريم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام، يا ذا النعماء والجود، يا ذا المن والتول، حرم شيبتي على النار. اللهم صل على أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب عليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أأتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كما أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا مهذرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا مهذرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيء ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتعذوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أحد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمره ننكس في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وظللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند مهذرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إن نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقا قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحيي الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Please recite Surah Fatiha for the marhumin listed on the screen. Al-Fatiha.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك العسام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك، وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك، وأن توزعني شكرك، وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع، أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بك اسمك راضيا قانعا، وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته، وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك، وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك، وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك، ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا، ولا لقبائحي ساترا، ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك. Repeat with me 3 times. ظلمت نفسي، ظلمت نفسي، ظلمت نفسي، وتجرعت بجهلي، وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي، كم من قبيح سترته، وكم من فادح من البلاء يقلته، وكم من عثار وقيته، وكم من مكروه دفعته، وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم عظم بلائي، وأفرط بي سوء حالي، وقصرت بي أعمالي، وقعدت بي أغلالي، وحبسني عن نفع بعد عملي، وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها، ونفسي بخيانتها ومطالي. يا سيدي، فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي، ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري، ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي، ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي، وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا، وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي، من لي غيرك؟ أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي، أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي، ولم أحترز فيه من تزيين عدوي، فغرني بما أهوى، وأسعده على ذلك القضاء، فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك، وخالفت بعض أوامرك، فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك، ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك، وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي، معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا، مستغفرا منيبا، مقرا مذعنا معترفا، لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني، ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري، وارحم شدة ضري، وفكني من شدي وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني، يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني، ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي. يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي، هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي، أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك، وبعد ما انطوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك، ولهج به لساني من ذكرك، واعتقده ضميري من حبك، وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك. هيهات، أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيت، أو تبعد من أدنيت، أو تشرد من آويت، أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمت. وليت شعري وسيدي، يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي، أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدة، وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقة، وبشكرك مادحة، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة، وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة، وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طاعية، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنا. ما هكذا الظن بك، ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم. يا ربي، وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها، وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه، قليل مكثور، يسير بقاء، قصير مدة. فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه، ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي، فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو، ولما منها ضج وأبكي، لأليم العذاب وشدتي أم لطول البلاء ومدتي؟ فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك، وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي. صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك. أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك، فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآملين، ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، لأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين. أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته، وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته، وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك، ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك، ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي، فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك ورفعتك ورحمتك ورأفتك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه؟ أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه؟ أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا ربه؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها؟ هيهات، ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين يقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاهديك وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، وما كانت لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما، لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين. وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما، أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمت وكل ذنب أذنبت وكل قبيح أسررت وكل جهل عملت، كتمته وأعلنت، أخفيته أو أظهرته، وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني، وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلت أو إحسان فضلت أو بر نشرت أو رزق بسطت أو ذنب تغفر أو خطأ تستر، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا رب، يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورا وبخدمتك موصولا وأعمالي عندك مقبولا، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا، يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا رب، قوي على خدمتك جوارحي واشتد على العزيمة جوانحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرح إليك في الميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في المبادرين، وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد، ومن كادني فكد، واجعلني من أحسن عبادك نصيبا عندك، وأقوى بهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك، وجد لي بجودك، وعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وأقلني عثرتي واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وضمنت لهم الإجابة، فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني منايا، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من عدائي يا سريع الرضا. Everyone together. يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقام يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أحلو وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. سورة المباركة الفاتحة.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات. وعجل فرجهم. I think we can do a better salawat than that. Everybody together. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Tonight we gathered here to commemorate the Shahadat of that Imam whose body was left unattended on a bridge in Baghdad, that Imam who spent his final few years in prison in the most harshest way and who died in prison. He's been given the laqab of Bab al-Hawa'ij, and we've all come here today with wishes in our hearts, and we pray to Allah that may our wishes be granted through the wasila of this great individual. We say, हमें खबर है रद नहीं होगी कभी इस दर से दुआ हमारी इसलिए आए हैं आस लेकर ऐ मेरे मौला तुम्हारे दर पर बाबुल हवाइज या मूसे काज़िम दिल में दुआ है आंसू है जारी बाबुल हवाइज या मूसे काज़िम आए हैं दर पे तेरे सवाली हाथों को जोड़े आते हैं रोकर जो बेपिसर हैं तुम्हारे दर पर उनकी तमन्ना को रद्द न करना औलाद साले उन्हें अता कर बाबुल हवाइज या मूसे काज़िम उन्हीं ख़वातीन की भर दे गोदी बाबुल हवाइज
या मूसे काज़िम आए हैं दर पे तेरे सवाली.
And whenever we go for ziyarah, those of us who haven't been, may Allah give you the opportunity to go to visit our 7th Imam. When we go to Iraq, we often, it is difficult to say this, but we often go to Karbala and Najaf, and we think of Kadhim as the last ziyarah. But we say to Mawla, through your wasila, call us to that holy land. हम जी रहे हैं इस आसरे पर, तेरी ज़ियारत हो ज़िंदगी भर, जिनके दिलों में है ये तमन्ना, देखे वो रोज़ा तुम्हारा कर। बाबुल हवाइज या मूसे काज़िम, चूमे तुम्हारे रोज़े की जाली, बाबुल हवाइज। Mawla, you lived your last few years inside a prison where it was even difficult to breathe. Mawla, you died in that prison and you were tortured every single day you were in that prison. Mawla, every night, every day you must have been thinking of the musibah of one other individual that died in the prison, and that prison was the prison of Sham. Sakina was tortured every single day that she was in Sham. Sakina died in the prison of Sham. And you know what must have been the hardest moment? When a prisoner is told that they've been released, that moment for Mawla Sajjad must have been a bittersweet moment. Where on one hand, he's taking the caravan home with him, on the other hand, he's leaving an amanat behind in the prison. When the caravan is moving away from Sham, Mawla sees that there's one woman who is missing within the women folk. He goes into the prison and he sees his mother Rubab collapsed over a grave. He says, "Oh mother, let's go home." She says, "I have nothing left to live for. I've lost my Ali al-Asghar in the plains of Karbala. I've left my beloved daughter in the prison of Sham. Just leave me here. I will spend the rest of my days here." Upon the grave of Sakina, she says, "Hai hai meri dukhtar, hai hai meri dukhtar, कहती थी ये माँ कब्र सकीना से लिपट कर, हाय हाय मेरी दुख्तर." She says, अरमान था पहलू में तुझे अपने छुपाती, बाजू जो खुले होते तो दुर्रों से बचाती, दिल फटता है दिल बर, हाय हाय मेरी दुख्तर।
देखो तो जरा कब्र पे माँ आई है बेटी, और साथ रिहाई की खबर लाई है बेटी, आवाज़ दो उठ कर, हाय हाय मेरी दुख्तर।
और सह आई है पहलू ले ही असग़र की जुदाई सह आई है पहले ही असग़र की जुदाई माँ कैसे जुदा होगी भला कब्र से तेरी मर जाएगी मादर हाय हाय मेरी दुख्तर
इस शाम की जुल्मत में सहारा नहीं कोई सब गैर हैं बस में हमारा नहीं कोई छोड़ूं तुझे किस पर हाय हाय मेरी दुख्तर
कानों में जो नाए थे बाबा ने तुम्हारे When Mullah Sajjad was called to the court, he was told, "You're free to go home." He went to Sayyidah Zainab. He said, "Pupi Amma, we're free to go home. Pupi Amma, what should I say to them?" Sayyidah Zainab says, "Ask them for two things." She says, number one, when we go home, we will go via Karbala to pay our condolences. And number two, ask them to return all of our belongings. Amongst them are two small earrings. Two small earrings. Bibi Rabah brings it to the grave of Sakina. She says, कानों में जो पहनाए थे बाबा ने तुम्हारे गोहर वो ही जो शिमर ने छीने थे तुम्हारे लाई हूँ वो गौहर लाई हूँ वो गौहर हाय हाय मेरी दुख्तर कहती थी ये माँ कब्र सकीना से लिपट कर हाय हाय मेरी दुख्तर हाय हाय मेरी दुख्तर पर मोहम्मद व आल मोहम्मद सलवात
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Mawlana Sahib, my elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Firstly, my condolences to all of you and to the Maraja and to the Imam of our time on the Shahadat of our 7th Imam, Imam Musa Kadhim alayhi salam. Just a few quick announcements. Firstly, a reminder for tomorrow's program for the Shahadat of Hazrat Abu Talib and the Majlis for the departure of Imam Husayn from Medina. Tomorrow's program will start at 7 p.m. with Namaz al-Maghribain. Saturday's program for the night of Mab'ath will start at 7 p.m. again with Namaz al-Maghribain. Just a reminder, you may have seen a message go out this afternoon regarding next Saturday, Niyaz for the Wilayats of Sha'ban. The fund is open for that. Please donate generously. You can see any of the treasury team in the ladies or gents, or you can donate directly through Communite or by bank transfer. And finally, tonight's Majlis sponsors are listed on the screen. Please recite Surah Fatiha for these marhumin and all marhumin. Al-Fatiha. I would now like to invite Shaykh Shahnawaz to come forward to deliver tonight's Majlis. Bar Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salawat.
الفاتحة. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على خاتم النبيين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، لا سيما على الإمام المنتظر، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم القرآن الحكيم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين. صلوات. At the very outset, allow me to extend my sincere tasliyat and condolences to all of you on this extremely sad occasion of the Shahadat of the Qalb of Hazrat Zahra, Imam Musa ibn Jafar, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. And as per the munasabat, it appears to be appropriate that we discuss something about this personality, portions of his life which at many times remain clouded because of lack of appropriate attention to such an individual, despite the fact that he is regarded as Bab al-Hawaj. A portion of this discussion about the importance and the greatness of this Imam we mentioned during the Imam Kadhim alayhi salam day. But today I want to take you towards one aspect of his life that was recited during the Martiha, Shabaran Abbas. And there are certain realities behind that particular aspect, which I will just mention, is about his imprisonment. So we go to Baghdad, we see him, we know he's Bab al-Hawaij, we know he's the one who we've been recommended to do the wasila for our health, for our safety, for our sickness. But having said that, we will start off few things that the basic kids need to know, and then we will move forward. And it might not just be for the kids, because where I'm taking you, the initial portion, though it may appear to be very basic and superfluous, has a very important role to understand when the life of Imam Kadhim alayhi salam has to be understood. So Imam was born in 128 Hijri. Understand the dates, because these play a very important role in understanding the madlumiyat of this man, and why out of all the Imams he's been given the same equation as Hadrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas as Bab al-Hawaij. And you're obviously aware, yeah, that this Bab al-Hawaij is a common factor between Hadrat Abbas alayhi salam and Imam Kadhim alayhi salam. One aspect about Hadrat Abbas alayhi salam as to how he's Bab al-Hawaij, inshallah, in the wiladat of Hadrat Abbas. It's a ajib scenario that you need to listen and know about these things. But Imam was born in the year 128 Hijri. Know these dates. He becomes the Imam at the age of, in the year 148 Hijri. That's when the sixth Imam dies, is passed away, is killed. So he's born in the year 128 Hijri. He becomes the Imam in the year 148 Hijri, when Mansur al-Dawanaki martyrs the sixth Imam. So at the age of 20, he becomes the Imam. And he is killed at the age, in the year 183 Hijri. So from 128 to 183 is 55 years. And from 148 to 183 is 35 years. The longest period of imamat of any Imam is Imam Kadhim alayhi salam, at 35 years. His age is 55 years. From 20 to 55 years, he's now the Imam. Now understand where I'm taking you. We've constantly been given this sentence, and I'd mentioned it even during the time of the Imam Kadhim alayhi salam day, was that there is this one sentence associated with Imam Kadhim, and it is repeated throughout in history, is La yazalu yantaqilu min sijnin ila sijn. He would constantly be moved from one sijn, one prison to another. Now understand this aspect. Riwayat tell us, historical traditions tell us, 14 years of his life he spent in prison. Out of 55 years, and we're looking 55 years from the time he's born till the time he's martyred. 55 years, 14 years of his life he spent in prison. It may sound, okay, 14 years of his life. You calculate in terms of percentage, that's 25% of his life in prison. You want me to put it into perspective? Every day, 6 hours he's in prison. From the time he's born, not the time he becomes baligh, not the time he becomes big, not the time he becomes an imam. When you say 14 years of his life out of 55 years he's in prison, it means every day from the day he's born, 6 hours he's into the prison for 25% of that life. 24 hours a day, 6 hours every day from the time he's born till he's martyred, he's in prison. That's one aspect of his. Now, these 14 years, we minus the last 4 years. The remaining 10 years, he would be taken into prison, released, taken into prison, released, 2 months prison, release, 6 months prison, release. But the last 4 years is exactly where the sentence comes. La yazalu yantaqilu min sijnin ila sijnin. The last 4 years, he did not come out. So when Harun al-Rashid comes to Medina to pick him up, and all that incident at the qabr of the Holy Prophet takes place, he takes Imam Kadhim alayhi salam to Baghdad. From that time onwards, they don't see him back, because the last 4 years of his life were constantly in prison. Now, in his 55 years of his life, from the time he opened his eyes till the time he died, he faced 4 Khalifas and 4 Khulafa of Bani al-Abbas. The first was Mansur al-Dawanaqi, who was the killer of his father, Imam Sadiq, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Mansur al-Dawanaqi's Khilafat went on for 21 years. And I'll just understand the dates and the period, and then you will understand where I'm taking you. Mansur al-Dawanaqi was the Khalifa for 21 years. After Mansur al-Dawanaqi comes Mahdi al-Abbasi. Mahdi al-Abbasi ruled for around 10 years or so. After Mahdi al-Abbasi comes Hadi al-Abbasi. Hadi al-Abbasi 1 year and few months. And then the final 12 years of his life, of Imam Kadhim al-Islam's life, was in the Khilafat of Harun al-Rashid. Amongst this 21 years, 10 years, 1 year and 4 months, and 12 years, the first 2 phases were very torrid on the 7th Imam. The time of Mansur al-Dawanaqi and the time of Harun al-Rashid. During the time of Mansur al-Dawanaqi, he was focused on Imam Sadiq al-Islam. So the entire household was under immense pressure. But because the person that was in front was Imam Sadiq al-Islam, and the entire focus of Mansur al-Dawanaqi was on Imam Sadiq al-Islam, while the others were being affected, they were under the shadow of Imam Sadiq al-Islam because he bore the brunt of the entire tyranny of Mansur al-Dawanaqi. But when it came to Harun al-Rashid, the last 12 years, which unfortunately the Orientalists refer to his phase, to his period of 12 years of Khilafat as the golden age of Islamic history. Not us, we don't believe that. We don't believe Harun al-Rashid's life was a period of golden age of Islamic history. Somebody who's taking part in the killing of the 7th Imam can never have a golden age of Islamic history. But Orientalists mention, because of certain things that he did. For us, he's Wasil, he's Finnar. But that's what the Orientalists, they look at it from the Sunni point of view. Because that's the majority. So when a non-Muslim wants to go and write about Islam, he won't come to the Shiaism sect first. He will go to the Sunnism. And in Sunnism, he's referred to as Harun al-Rashid. Rashid means a guided one. Rashid means the one who has rushd, who's got great maturity, who's got great understanding of religion. And his name was Harun al-Rashid. Now, these last 4 years were very important. The last 12 years were very horrid for the 7th Imam. And the last 4 years in specific of his life, very bad. But how does it all turn about? What happens that a person like Harun Rashid, which is actually Harun al-Abbasi, has to go to that level that for 14 years of his life, the entire Bani al-Abbas, and last 4 years of his life, and the entire 12 years of Harun al-Rashid, he's hammer and tongs going after the 7th Imam. Don't they understand? Yeah, Bani al-Abbas are related to Bani Hashim. Bani al-Abbas comes from Hadrat Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib, who's the brother of Hadrat Abu Talib, who's the brother of Hadrat Abdullah, who's the father of the Holy Prophet, Hadrat Abu Talib, the father of Amir al-Mu'mineen. So they're all related to each other. That's why they would refer to each other as Ibn Am. But what was it? What were the factors? Look, you can listen to history as a story and pass by, and you will not understand anything. Like Ghadir. You take it as a history, pass by, oh, man kuntu mawla fa'adha aliyun mawla. History is one thing to listen to a story. History is another thing to analyze. You don't analyze, history will pass off as just one story and you will not get anything out of it. You want to understand what happens in history, you have to analyze what happened. Why and what was the reason that Imam Kadhim al-Salam was subjected to such persecution that 1/4 of his life passed in prison? What prompted Harun al-Rashid to do it? And today, because of the Shahadat, you have to talk about the madlumiyat of this man. A man who's regarded as Babul Hawaij. It's not a joke to be called the door of Hawaij. We know all the Imams are abwab of Allah. Aina Babullah alladhi yu'ta min. When we talk about the 12th Imam and Dua Nudba, where is the door from which Allah is giving the entire universe? The universe, it comes to them. There are basically 4 main reasons why Harun had to go through it, and you'll go through it. Each of this, I'm going to go rush through it because I'm looking at the time. We don't have much time. Each of this can easily take one majlis on its own, the 4 points. And these, again, we're going to go very quickly, just so that you understand that coming over here, when we cry by Imam Kadhim al-Islam, what he went through. And what was the reason? And what were the reaction? Why was such a blatant tyrannical reaction of the Khulafa towards our Imam? The first and the foremost, and you have to understand this, and this is even prevalent today, that the reason that Harun subjected Imam Kadhim al-Islam to this, and as I open this up, you will see that how dunya plays a role in the workings of a person in power. The first thing that caused Harun al-Rashid to be so intensely tyrannical towards Imam Kadhim, and you'll hear the tyranny of upon Imam Kadhim al-Islam in the Masjid. I'm not rushing forward now, but you will hear how an Imam then beseeches and implores God. But we'll come to that. The first reason that Harun al-Rashid implemented this sort of a tyrannical imposition on the seventh Imam is because of Hubb al-Dunya. And listen how this Hubb al-Dunya works. Love for this world. Love for this world. And all the Imams have always told us, be careful about this. This Hubb al-Dunya, Tulul Amal, ambitions in life. Every morning you get up, my business has to become this, my business has to go there. 10 years down the line, I need to reach there. 20 years down the line, I need to do this. By the time I die, I need to leave for my kids. This sort of things. We've always been told, be careful about this Hubb al-Dunya. Not only will it make you forget the Akhirat, it has the ability to take a person away from Deen. And look how it tends to take away from person. Look at today's time. Today's world, you've got so many Muslim countries where their leaders are. With whom are they siding up? With whom are they having relations and pacts? With the enemies of Islam. This is all because of Hubb al-Dunya. And the Hubb al-Dunya was there in all the people when they are in sources of power, unless they are a Masoom or trained by a Masoom. You either have to be a Masoom like the Holy Prophet or Amirul Mu'mineen for Hubb al-Dunya not to encompass you, or you have to be trained by them and by their teachings. And why do I say trained by the teachings? You've got this very common people, ulama sitting over here, that when Imam Khomeini was told, Aga, you've got 100,000 people saying Khomeini Zindabad, Rahbar Zindabad, how do you feel? Does it make you feel happy? And he goes and says, if these 100,000 people today that are saying Khomeini Zindabad, if they were to say Khomeini Murdabad, I would not be affected in the least. These are the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt, that you do everything for the sake of God. When it is God, then you're not worried about what the people say. And over here, when it comes to Hubb al-Dunya, then there is no God. You cannot have God in between. And listen to this tradition now. To understand what Hubb al-Dunya means. It is not a joke that when you have Hubb al-Dunya, deen goes. And this narration that I'm telling you, it's in Bihar al-Anwar, volume 48. Volume 48 is specifically related to the life of Imam Kadhim alayhi salam. And page number 129, 130, 131, it's a long tradition. The tradition is narrated by who? By Ma'mun. Ma'mun al-Rashid, as they call him. Son of Harun al-Rashid. Harun al-Rashid had three major sons in the limelight. One was Ma'mun, one was Muhammad Amin, and one was Mu'tamin. Ma'mun is now narrating this. The same Ma'mun who killed Imam Rada alayhi salam. The Rawi is saying, we were together with Ma'mun. Ma'mun was sitting. Nahnu ala ras al-Ma'mun. We were sitting together with Ma'mun. At that time, all of a sudden, Ma'mun comes up and says, Atadruna man allamani at-tashayyu'. Do you know, and I'm taking this out because I want to read out a few texts from this hadith from Bihar al-Anwar. Bihar al-Anwar, volume 148, page number approximately 130, 131, 132. So Harun has passed away. Ma'mun has become the Khalifa. When Ma'mun has become the Khalifa, now we're going very quickly, just be careful, stay with me. Ma'mun becomes the Khalifa. The Ravi says, Kunna ala ras al-Ma'mun, we were next to Ma'mun, and all of a sudden Ma'mun asks, Atadruna man allamani at-tashayyu. Do you know who introduced me to tashayyu, to the Shiaism? So everybody says, La na'alim, wallahi la na'alim. We don't know. By God, you tell us. He says, Allamani hey ar-Rashid. My father Harun al-Rashid taught me about tashayyu. When he said that, all of us, Ravi saying, we said, وَكَيْفَ هَذَا? How is it possible? وَهُوَ الَّذِي يَقْتُلُ أَحَلَ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. How did he introduce you to tashayyu? How did he talk to you about Shiaism? He was the person who used to kill the people of this house. هو الذي يقتل أهل هذا البيت. He would kill the people of the house. He was having animosity. He was harboring enmity towards the people of this Ahlul Bayt. How did he tell you about it? He says, listen, and this is very important for us. He says, one day we had gone for Hajj. Mamun is saying, I had gone on Hajj with Harun, with my father, to Makkah. After Makkah, there was always this practice in the olden days. When people would go to Makkah for Hajj, they would always go to Medina for the Holy Prophet. Ziyarat of the Holy Prophet. So he said, after Hajj we went to Medina. But Medina, outside Medina, he was a Khalifa, Harun al-Rashid. He set up a big tent, a big facade, a big arrangement where he would have his tent in the middle, the tents of his followers, his commanders on the other side. And he announced and made a promulgation that all those who want to visit me from Medina, when they come, they should enter the door. As they enter the door, they should mention out their hasab and nasab. As they mention out their hasab, and Fulan ibn Fulan from this Qabila, I'm Fulan ibn Fulan from the Fulan from Taif, I'm Fulan ibn Fulan from, for example, Quraysh. Says as they come, they should announce that. And based on the sharaf of their lineage, I will give them in'am and money. So Harun is saying, we managed the whole thing, we set it up, and every person who would come, he would say, I'm Fulan ibn Fulan, and based on the nobility of his lineage, he would give him 100 dinars, he would give him 200 dinars, up to 5,000 dinars, depending upon the sharaf of the lineage. It says, فَإِذَا دَخَلَ. At that time, the door person comes, the gatekeeper comes and says, Bilbab Rajulun. At the door is a person who says he's Musa ibn Ja'far ibn al-Baqir ibn al-Ali ibn al-Husayn ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. Salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. He says, as soon as my father heard this, he was relaxed. He suddenly sat up. He sat up and he says, bring him inside. But bring him with respect. I'm quoting this tradition from Bihar. It says, bring him inside. He was relaxed. Suddenly he sits up alert. He says, Mamun is saying, I was there, Muhammad Amin was there, Mu'tamin was there, Harun al-Rashid, my father was there. And all of a sudden we are surprised. What has suddenly changed? Up to now, so many people were coming and it was a normal incident. All of a sudden, when this name comes, Musa ibn Ja'far ibn al-Baqir ibn Ali ibn al-Husayn ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib, he just sits up. At the same, فَإِذَا رَجُلٌ دَخَلَ. And he says, I saw a person enter. Now he's narrating, Harun Mamun. He's saying, I saw this person enter, a very frail looking person. But he says his frailty it appears very clear that this old man, a frail man, who appears to be frail because of ibadat, because we could see the signs of taqwa on his face, we could see the signs of piety on his face, we could see the signs of sujood on his head, we could see the signs of sajda on his nose. Nose, because you know it is mustahab to put the nose onto the ground. When you do too many sajdas, you get a mark on the head, you also get a mark on the nose. He says we could see it and we could know, قَدْ أَنْحَتَكَ الْعِبَادَةِ and hakatat al-ibadah. The ibadat, it is very prominent that ibadat and the worship of Allah had made him very weak. As soon as he entered on a donkey, on a mule. So as soon as he entered, he saw my father and he decided to come down. Mamun is saying, he saw my father. As soon as he entered, he saw my father. He wanted to get down. At that time, Harun, my father, called out, La wallahi, hatta ila bisati. You will not get down till you come to my carpet. Now what had happened was he was sitting, in front of him was a massive, beautiful carpet, and the people would come over there, they would stand. It was a massive tent that he had set up, or a massive arrangement that he had set up. People would come, they would announce, and then they would receive the money and go away. This person comes. As he's about to get down from his mule, Harun says, no, you will not get down. You will come with the donkey towards my carpet. So now the gatekeeper does not allow him to get down because the Khalifa said, no, you will remain seated. Come on your donkey to the edge of the carpet. By the time he came to the edge of the carpet, Imam Kadhim al-Islam, Harun gets out from his throne, comes to the edge of the carpet. Mamun is saying, I've never seen my father behave like this before. He took hold of the hand, he kissed the person's hand. He kissed him on his eye, on his forehead. He held him by the hand. He says, now I will help you get down. Kissed him on his face, kissed him on his hand, took him on the carpet and made him seated next to him. Ma'mun is saying, I'm surprised because I have never seen my father with his arrogance, with Harun al-Rashid, behave this way with anybody. At that time, he started talking to this person. Ya Abul Hassan, how are you? How are your friends? How is your family? Do you need any money for help? Do you have any debts that you need me to pay off? And the discussion went out. After the discussion and the talks, also Harun is mentioning, I'm deleting it for the sake of time and brevity. It says, after the talks, faqam, he stood up to go. Who? This man whom Ma'mun says, an old man whose frailty was very manifest. It was due to ibadat and taqwa and piety and righteousness. It says, as he got up, my father got up, took his hand, took him right to the edge of the tent. But before he could go, he turned to me, Ya Ma'mun, Ya Ma'mun, Ya Mu'tamin, Ya Amin. This is your hada ammukum. This is your chacha. So be careful, come with me and escort him right outside. As they had gone, as the seventh Imam left, now Ma'mun is saying, we returned back. And I was the boldest of my three brothers when it came to Harun. Harun was a person of arrogance, of a character. Khalifatul Muslimin. He had complete dominance over the entire Islamic Mamlakat. That arrogance did not allow even the children to speak out. Ma'mun is saying, Ana ajra'u wuldi abi. I was the most audacious, most brave when talking to my father. So I told my father, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, who is this man that you've exhibited so much respect for that I've never seen you exhibit that respect to anybody? As soon as I said this, you know what he says? He says, yeah. He says, Hada, and look at these words now. This is Harun al-Rashid saying. Ma'mun is saying, I asked my father, what is this man? Who is this man? I've never seen you give him such respect before. Who is it? At that time, Harun al-Rashid is saying, قال هذا إمام الناس وحجة الله على خلقه وخليفته على عباده. He is the Imam of the people, he is the Hujjat of God upon the people, and he is his Khalifa upon the earth. Now Ma'mun is saying this was absolutely out of the blue. All along I have been calling my father Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Everybody who comes to my father says Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Now this person who's Amir al-Mu'mineen, who calls himself the Khalifa to Rasulullah, who calls himself the representative of the Holy Prophet, because he's sitting on the Khilafat of the Holy Prophet, is now saying Hada Imamun Nas. He's the Imam of God. Wa Hujjatullah ala ibadeh. And he's the Hujjat of God upon the ibad. And he's Khalifatuhu alayhim. And he's their Khalifa. So Harun says, I turned to him and says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, alaysat hadhihi sifat kulluhu lak? Are these attributes that you mentioned, Imamun Nas, Hujjatullah, Khalifatullah, are these not your sifat? From the time I've opened my eyes, all I've heard is you are the Imam of Nas, you are the Hujjat of God, you are the Khalifa. Today you're telling me he is the Imam and he is the Hujjat and he is the Khalifa. So where do you stand? So look what he says. فَقُلْتُ يَا أَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَوَلَيْسَتْ هَذِهِ الصِّفَاتُ كُلُّهَا لَكَ? Are all these attributes not for you? فَقَالَ. Who said it? Harun al-Rashid saying, أَنَا إِمَامُ الْجَمَاعَةِ فِي الظَّاهِرِ بِالْغَلَبِ وَالْقَهْرِ. I am the apparent Imam of the people by means of the power and sword. Whereas this man, wallahi ya wa Musa ibn Ja'far, imamu haqqin wallahi ya bunayya, innahu la ahaqqa bi maqam Rasulullah minni wa min al khalq jami'an. The real Imam of God upon the earth is this man. The real Janashin of the Holy Prophet is this man. The real representative of God is this man. I am just by means of the sword. And then he says, he narrates one thing. He says, you've understood what I've told you? You know that he is the real person? Ma'mun says, but if that is the case, you consider him to be the Imam of God. You consider him to be the Hujjat of God. You consider him to be the Khalifa of God. Then why are you opposing him? Why don't you give the Khilafat to him? At that time, he turns to Ma'mun and says, Harun turns to Ma'mun and says, my son, you don't realize, al-mulku aqim. ولو نازعتني في هذا الأمر لأخذت ما بين عينيك ما فيه عيناك. He says, this amr, the khilafat is what I desire for. And al-mulku aqim. Mulk means power. Aqim means sterile. Al-mulku aqim means if you have power, then power sees no relatives. Aqim means a lady who doesn't bear children is called aqim. A person who's not able to bear a child is called aqim. Somebody who's sterile. Harun says, al-mulku aqim. Power does not have any relatives. Then he says, you Mamun, who is my son, from my Iranian wife, if you were to contest me in this khilafat, I will cut off your head from over your shoulders, because al-mulku aqim, power does not see relatives. Now do you understand why? And this Mamun is the same person. He's narrating this. Atadruna man allamani at-tashayyu. Do you know who explained me tashayyu? Harun. And then he says, Harun explains so much. He knew Imam Kadhim was the Hujjat of God. Yet he subjected him to persecution. Why? To maintain his power. The Hubbud Dunya did not allow him to hand over the wilayat, the Qudrat, the Khilafat of Rasulullah to Imam Kadhim, because he wanted to rule it. And he gave that sentence, which is now even today in the 21st century becomes so important to understand why these kingdoms of the Hashemite kingdoms in the Middle East, claiming themselves to be coming from the Holy Prophet, are still siding with the enemies, because al-mulku aqim. It does not see mother, it does not see father, it does not see children, it does not see God, it does not see any religion. Once power comes, power corrupts. And you know this. Aurangzeb and Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan was the father. Was he not imprisoned? We know that. There is no religion. When power comes, there is no father and there is no son. There is no religion. Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, the son of Marwan ibn Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, when he becomes a Khalifa, he was regarded as Hamamatul Masjid, the pigeon of the mosque. From morning to night, he would be seen in the mosque, reading the Quran. The son of the Khalifa, Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, when Marwan passes away, people come to him, Abdul Malik, you're the eldest son, you need to become the Khalifa. He is in the mosque because he's always found in the mosque. He's called the pigeon of the masjid, Hamamatul Masjid. Always in the mosque, reading the Quran. Person comes to him and says, your father Marwan has passed away, you've become the Khalifa. Tradition says he takes the Quran, closes it, puts it on the ground and pushes it forward. Hada firaqu bainaka wa baini. Now is the difference between you and me. Up to now, I was not the Khalifa. I did not have the power. You were guiding me. Now, I've become the Khalifa. This is historical narrations. Pick up the books of history. He pushes the Quran aside and says, now there's a difference between you and me. Now you will not teach me what to do. Now I've got the power. I decide what to do. Al-mulku aqim doesn't see it. Family, friends, religion and God. The same Mamun who is talking about his father, giving him nasiyat, that power is sterile, it doesn't see relatives. If you contest me on the Khilafat, I will behead you. This same Mamun, when he defeats his brother Muhammad Amin and becomes the Khalifa and sits on the throne of Khilafat, what did he do? He killed Muhammad Amin, his brother. He killed Muhammad Amin, cut his head off, put it on a pedestal, sitting on his throne, on the throne of Khilafat. In front of him is a pedestal, the head of Muhammad Amin, because there was a fight between them, who would become the Khalifa after Harun. Muhammad Amin says, I'm going to become the Khalifa. Ma'mun says, I'm going to become the Khalifa. Muhammad Amin was supported by Bani al-Abbas. Ma'mun was supported by the Iranians. That's why Khurasan, he called Imam Rida al-Islam to Khurasan, because he was the only Bani al-Abbas who had his capital in Iran, in Khurasan. All the others had in Samara and Baghdad. He was the only one who had in Khurasan. Why? Because he came from an Iranian mother. His mother was a slave girl, an Iranian slave girl. So he had support from the Iranians. Muhammad Amin was an out and out Tarifun Najabain and Najibu Tarafain from Bani al-Abbas. So Bani al-Abbas supported him. A battle took place between them. Mamun won. Muhammad Amin was arrested. He was killed. He was beheaded. Now the time came for the people now to do bay'at for Muhammad Amin. You know what did they do? Al-mulku aqim, he doesn't see relatives. He places the cut head of Muhammad Amin in front of him on a pedestal. He's sitting behind. All the people, thousands of people have gathered together to do bay'at at him. He says, you want to do bay'at with me? Come over here and do bay'at at my hands. But before you do bay'at at my hands, you have to spit on the face of Muhammad Amin, my brother. After you spit, then you come and do bay'at at my hands. Al-mulku aqim. Al-mulku aqim. Doesn't see relatives, doesn't see friends, doesn't see God, doesn't see religion. Once Qudrat comes, Now you realize why all those things are happening, why all those casinos are opening in places amongst the most holiest places of Islam, why those discos are opening, why those liquor shops are opening, why those pacts are being done by the enemies of Islam. When you get power, this power then sees no religion, this power sees no relatives, this power then corrupts completely. This is what happened with Harun al-Rashid. He knows this man is the Hujjat of God. He knows he's the Khalifa of God. But despite that, he says, you will still be put into prison for so long that for the last 4 years of your life, you will neither be able to stand up properly, you will never be able to lengthen your legs properly in the prison. I know you're the Hujjat of God, but you don't mess around with power. So imagine if he's willing to behead his son. He will kill Imam Kadhim al-Islam in a heartbeat. Hubbud dunya. So we've always been told, be careful. Don't get too carried away by this dunya. It will take you away from religion. Unless you're trained by the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt. This is point number one. Point number two, and very quickly, why did Ma'mun try to impose such persecution on the seventh Imam? Look, up to the time of the fourth Imam, things were very bad. Because Karbala had taken place. After Karbala, things are very, very tight. Because now the Bani al-Umayyah are now waiting. We've done something very wrong. And now we need to, they're expecting revolutions, rebellions all over the place. So any incident of uprising, and they would absolutely suppress it. They're on high alert. So Imam Sajjad cannot do anything. And that is the reason Sahifa Sajjadiyah came. You know about all of this. That is, every Imam, based on the circumstances prevailing during his time, would adopt methods to promote the religion of God, to promote Islam. Imam Sajjad, during his time, because of that suffocation, because of that intense, because the Hukumat is now worried, something bad is really we've done. So in order to suppress, they were very, very controlling. And in trying to control, Imam Sajjad says, I'll do Sahifa Sajjadiyah, my tabligh will be through du'as. But from the time of the fifth Imam, and the sixth Imam, and the seventh Imam, because that was the time when Bani al-Umayyah was going down and Bani al-Abbas was coming up. They had approximately 60 years of time between the fifth Imam, sixth Imam, and seventh Imam. 60 years for what? 60 years to show the real fadilat of the Ahlul Bayt, the maqam of the Ahlul Bayt, the rank of the Ahlul Bayt. You know, at the time of Imam Husayn al-Islam, what was the rank of Ahlul Bayt? You want to know what was the rank of Ahlul Bayt at the time of the sixth Imam, at the time of the third Imam, at the time of Karbala? Riwayat tell us, and I've narrated it many times, Riwayat tell us, the entire force of Yazid of 30,000, that was there. That was just one part, huh? There was another backup force of 70,000. That was placed at Khan al-Nus. Khan al-Nus is a place between Najaf and Karbala. Halfway between that. Khan al-Nus. Nus in Arabic, in slang language, is half. Halfway between Karbala and Najaf, there was another army of 70,000 waiting over there to back up the 30,000 if something were to go wrong. Abbas was there. They had to have a backup. They had to have a plan B. But we're not talking about that 70,000. Even those 30,000 that were there in Karbala, against Imam Husayn alayhi salam, there are reports that tell us they were not full Yazidi forces. A lot of them were from the Qabail that were around Kufa. They had called people from the Qabail and the tribes around the Kufas. There's report that one person coming out from the house in one of the Qabilas, as he's going out, he raises his hands. He raises his hands for du'as. We've been asked, when you go out of the house, say Assalamu alaikum ya sahib al-amr, or you recite Jarat Waratha, or you recite Ayatul Kursi. When he came out, you know what he says? He raises his hand and says, Allahumma inni ataqarrabu ilayka. I'm going to fight Husayn ibn Ali. I'm going to fight Husayn ibn Ali. Yazid has called me. I'm going out with this dua. Allahumma inni ataqarrabu ilayka biqatl Husayn ibn Ali. I'm going to outside and I'm seeking to come close to you by the killing of Husayn ibn Ali. The propaganda machine of Bani al-Umayyah had turned Imam Husayn al-Islam into a person that an ordinary awam, a lay person, considers killing Imam Husayn getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Forget about ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyah. Who knows about that? The propaganda machine had turned everything aside. But when it came to the fifth Imam and the sixth Imam and the seventh Imam, approximately 60 years to turn the tide. By the time we come to the seventh Imam, things have been normalized. People have come to know who these people are. People have come to look at Sahifa Sajjadiyah. In so many du'as, after every 2 sentences, you get Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. At times, you wonder, what is the logic of putting so many salawat after every 1 sentence in a dua? The reason was this. He wanted to show, Baba, these are the people that have the authority and the rank that Allah says, Inna Allah wa malaikatuhu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. So every time they recite the salawat, they go into the Quran. Oh, Allah is also reciting salawat upon the Ahlul Bayt. Oh, are these people so important in the eyes of God that Allah Himself is saying, Inna Allah wa malaikatu, the angels and Allah send salawat. There must be something big. 60 years of then setting things right comes to the point of 7th Imam, that now when 7th Imam is there, you have people really loving him. The love of Ahlul Bayt. The people have understood, have got the ma'rifat. And now people are loving them, are really liking them, and are flocking to them. And anytime you have a person in the Khilafat who's more loving, who's more popular than the Khalifa, that's a problem for the Khalifa. Because again, al-mulku aqim. If somebody is more powerful than me in the hearts of the people, and this is what Harun had said, he is the Imam of God by love, I am the Imam of people by power and sword. So when they found out that the Imams were being liked so much, that was a threat. This person can initiate a rebellion anytime, and so now he needs to be put down. Where can he be put down? Medina is too far away. He has to be next to me, where I can monitor him, where I can watch him every day and night. Where can that be? It has to be in Baghdad. Where in Baghdad? In my palace? No, he has to be in prison. And we've got reports that says when Harun would go onto the top of his qasr, on his palace, and he would go outside on the terrace, he would be able to see inside the cell of Imam Kadhim alayhi salam. I want it to be so prominent that every day I get up, I want to see what this man is doing. Because al-mulku aqim, I cannot have anybody being so popular and loving in the eyes of people that could be a threat to me. This is point number 2. Again, I'm just rushing through. There's so many things that we can talk about even this point. So the first point, hubbud dunya. Point number 2, love of the people for the Ahlul Bayt had really grown multifold and manifold in that time. Point number 3, look, we've got a very wrong misconception, and I'm just going very quickly, just bear with me. We've got this very wrong misconception in the eyes of the people. You ask a normal person, in your opinion, how is an Imam? Oh, Imam, he's a Lamia ki guy, he's such a simple person, tasbih in the hands, forehead is having sajda, always on the musalla, always sajda, always namaz, soft-spoken. Anybody you say, give him one cheek, he will give the other cheek. That's just like how Islam says, you give one cheek. That's wrong, huh? If somebody tells you, if somebody hits you on one cheek, give the other cheek, that's wrong. That is not what Islam teaches us. Islam says, La tadlim wa la tudlam. You will not do dhulm and you will not accept dhulm. This is what is being said by the Rahbar. It says, anywhere there is dhulm, we will oppose it. It may be a Sunni or a Shia, we will still oppose it. This is a wrong concept. If somebody slaps you one cheek, you give the other cheek. This is not what Islam teaches us. Islam says, you will not do dhulm, you will not accept dhulm. And the entire concept of Imam Husayn standing was this. We will not accept dhulm. So now, when we come to this, the third point, that the hubbud dunya and then the love of the people. But this concept of our understanding that Imam is Allah Miyan ki guy, very shant, oh, he would never retort back, anything would happen, they would accept, is wrong. This is not right. When there was taqiyya, when the lives were at danger, when they were at the point of the sword, they would exhibit taqiyya. Not an issue at all. We know that for sure. But you say, oh, they would give one cheek when the other cheek was slapped. That was not right. There were times when they would confront the khulafa. Offensively they would confront, not defensively. Not covertly, overtly. You know that incident about Imam Rida alayhi salam, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. When Mamun calls him to Khurasan, because he pushed his capital to Khurasan, because his fan base and his entire army base was Iranians. His mother Maria, according to certain traditions, was an Iranian slave girl. So he put his capital in Khurasan. And that's why he called Imam Rida al-Islam from Medina to Khurasan. All the other Bani Abbas took him to Baghdad and took them to Baghdad and Samarra, all the Imams. But when he called Imam Rida al-Islam, what did he say? It's not that Imam every time will become silent. Oh, okay, you persecute me, I will accept. You do anything, I'll accept. No. There were times they would stand up, and those times when they would stand up, they would speak so powerfully that the other person would be left dumbfounded. Now we can't do anything about this man except kill him. So in the time when Imam Rida alayhi salam, when he called Mamun, called Imam Rida alayhi salam, he says, I'm going to, this about Wilayat Ahad and the crown prince, that was not the first offer that he had placed. The first offer was, I'm making you the Khalifa. When Imam rejected it, then he said, okay, I'm making you my Wali Ahad, after me as my crown prince, my successor. Initially he said, I'm making you the Khalifa. Imam says, no, you can't do that. He says, why not? He says, you can't do that. He's just come. He's under supervision. He's under, for all practical purposes, house arrest. वो नाम के लिए it is said, oh, he's the crown prince, or he wants to be made the Khalifa. In all practical purposes and for all practical reasoning, he was under house arrest. He's now standing before the Khalifa of the time. And he, the Khalifa, is saying, I want to give my Khilafat to you. He says, you can't do that. He says, why not? He says, for two reasons. He says, I can't give my Khilafat to you. He says, no. He says, why? He says, look, there are only two options for this. First, this Khilafat belongs to you and given to you by God, or this Khilafat is not given to you by God. There's no third outcome out of this. He says, yes. Either it's given to me. I say this is my right. He says, look, if this Khilafat, it has only two cases. Either this Khilafat has been given to you by God, or it is not given to you by God. If it is not given to you by God, then it's something that does not belong to you, cannot give me. And if it belongs to you and given to you by God, something that is given by God, you have no right to give it to me. You have no right to give it to me. So either way, when you tell me you want to give me the Khilafat, you are in the wrong. Either if it is a mansab given to you by God, you have to stick with it. You don't have a Nabi given to him, Nubuwat by God, and says, oh, I don't want your Nubuwat, I'm giving it to somebody. Look what happened to Yunus alayhi salam. He didn't even reject it. He got upset, he walked out. God says, I'm upset. You can't just walk out. You may be my Nabi, but you can't just walk out. Doesn't work. You've been given a task, you have to do it. We've been asked to pray namaz al-subh before qadha, you have to do it. You like it or not. That's it. My way or the highway. You like it, you like it. You don't like it, you don't like it. You don't like it, you go where? La yumkin al-firaru min hukumatik. Where will you go? So if you've been given the Khilafat, you cannot give it to me. And if you've not been given Khilafat, something that is not yours, you cannot give it to me. This really infuriated Mamun. This was one of the things that really made him musammam, that this man needs to go. He's talking too much in front of me. Same thing happened with Imam Kadhim al-Islam and Harun. There were times when they would bear everything. There were times when they would realize we need to speak out. So once Harun comes, he's talking with Imam Kadhim alayhi salam. He says, Yabna, ya Abul Hasan, oh my chacha ka beta, eh mere bhai, oh Abul Hasan. I know you've been wrong for long, you've been wrong for ages with respect to Fadak. I want to give you Fadak. Fadak has got a very cherished, checkered history. It is like a yo-yo. It had an income of, in today's time, hundreds of thousands, if not millions. It was able to sustain the entire army of the Muslim force. That's how big it was. And it had a very checkered yo-yo type relationship with the Ahlul Bayt. So first of all, the Holy Prophet, so I'll just tell you how it, very quickly. First of all, the Holy Prophet gives it to Bibi Fatima. Then Abu Bakr takes it from her. Then after a few years, between 99 and 101 or 100 and 102, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz gives it back to the family of Ahlul Bayt. Then after that, Yazid ibn Abdul Malik ibn Marwan. Yazid ibn Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, that same Marwan. Marwan ibn Hakam, whose the Quran says, Shajaratul Mal'una. Quran refers to them as Shajara Mal'una. His son Abdul Malik, his son Yazid. Yazid ibn Abdul Malik ibn Marwan. He comes and takes it back. He takes it back. After that, the fall of Bani al-Abbas, Bani al-Umayyah starts. The start of Bani al-Abbas comes. The first person of Bani al-Abbas, Abu al-Abbas as-Saffah, his name. He says, we've come onto this Khilafat by the shu'ar, by the nara, that we want to give the rights back to the Ahlul Bayt. So we want to give Fadak back. So he gives Fadak back to the descendants of Hazrat Zahra. When he goes, this is the first Bani al-Abbas. Then Mansur al-Dawaniki comes, he takes it back. And then it continues till the time of Harun. Now Harun is telling Imam Kadhim alayhi salam, I want to give Fadak back to you. Because this is your right, you need to get it. This was yours, it was taken wrongly from you. Tell me what is the boundary of Fadak, and I will give it to you. That is your right. Imam says, you really want to give me Fadak? He says, yes. Imam, this is all lip service. किसी को देना नहीं है फदक, सिर्फ बोलने की बात है. He says, we want to give you fadak. Okay, what are the boundaries of fadak? So Imam starts. On the north of fadak, this is the boundary. On the south of fadak, this is the boundary. On the east of fadak, on the west of fadak, this is the boundary. On the east of fadak, this is the boundary. You know the boundaries that he outlined was what? It was the boundaries of his entire khilafat. He says, this is not fadak, this is the whole khilafat. He says, yes, you're talking about one piece of land, the entire khilafat belongs to us. You want to give us what is our right, don't give me one portion of fadak, give me the entire khilafat, because we have been made the khalifa of Rasulullah. Now these talks don't go well, they don't sit well with the khulafa, and this is in front of everybody. Ruswa kar diya Imam ne usko. All those claims that we want to give you your right back, our right is from that same day. That's why we recited in the Qunut tonight. Allahumma lan awwal al-zalimin zalama haqqa Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. The first person who took the khilafat continued to happen till the time of Imam Kadhim. He's saying, what are you giving me for that? The whole khilafat is ours, given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the asman, in the skies. Kabhi jo hai wo Mehraj ke time mein baat karenge aapko. Yes, probably, no, I'm not here for Ghadir. But if there was there in Ghadir, I will tell you where this all started. This all, Man Kuntu Mawla, Ghadir started in Ghadir. Man Kuntu Mawla is in Ghadir. You're mistaken, it's not in Ghadir. Ghadir was just a manifestation. Where it started, ek bahut lambi chaudi dastan hai. You need to know these things. You need to read these books, what the Imams have told us, where they come from. But anyway, so this was the third one and the fourth one. The fourth point that caused Harun al-Rashid to turn away from and to persecute Imam Kadhim is slandering of certain family members and those around him who were harboring animosity towards Imam Kadhim alayhi salam. वो जो है वो कहते हैं ना अफवाह फैलाने वाले. Today I was told to recite in Urdu, तुम मसाइब उर्दू पढ़ेंगे. These people जो है वो एक मर्तबा उनके अफराद जो नज़दीक थे, they would come and tell Harun Rashid all rumors and slandering about Imam Kadhim. You know this man, Musa ibn Ja'far, Abul Hasan Ali ibn Musa ibn Ja'far, he's very powerful, ya Khalifat al-Muslimin, ya Amir al-Mu'minin. He says, yeah, how come? He gets so much money from people all over the world, all over the Islamic kingdom. Is it? And that was true. This entire incident of Bibi Shatida took place. How? Where did it all start from? Abu Ja'far came from Neshapur, from those tujjar and those traders carrying those large amount of money of khums. And in that there was that one coin of Bibi Shatida that was given to Imam Kadhim alayhi salam. And then Imam Kadhim alayhi salam rejected most of them because they had turned away from Imam Kadhim and they had become Kaysani and Fatahiyul Madhab. And there was only one coin of Bibi Shatida that they said, give it to me, I want that one. It started where? Because of the khums and the wujuhat al-Sharia that people were sending, they realized these are the real people who have been nominated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all the wujuhat, all the khums, all the wujuhat al-Sharia, all the wajib taxes that Islam levies upon people were all sent to the Imams. These people would come and say, Ya Khalifat al-Muslimin, we've never seen two swords in one sheath. I said, what do you mean? He says, we've never seen two khalifas in one khilafat. He says, what do you mean? He says, there are two khalifas in our kingdom in the khilafat. He says, La Araf, I don't know anybody except me. He says, Abul Hasan, Musa ibn Ja'far. Since when did he become the khalifa? Not official, he's the unofficial khalifa. More people come to him than people come to you. More people respect him than they respect you. More money comes to him than it comes to you. He can always stand up and bring a revolution. Is that correct? Al-Mulku Aqim. I can't stand my son standing in front of me. How will I stand Musa ibn Ja'far standing in front of me? Call him from Medina. No, I will go to Medina personally and bring him. Goes to Medina. Medina जाके जो है वो ज़ातन जो ले आए और लाते वक्त क्या हीला क्या किया? रीजन क्या बताया? एक मर्तबा लोगों को बताने के लिए कि जो है हम अच्छा काम करते हैं, मूसा इब्न जाफर को इमाम कादिम अलैहिस्सलाम को लिए जा रहे हैं. देखिए मसाइब का मंजर आ गए ना, तो जरा सुनिएगा. अभी हम ले जा रहे हैं तो कुछ जस्टिफिकेशन तो होना चाहिए ना. ऐसे तो जो है वो रसूल के बेटे को जो है फर्जंद रसूल को तो ले नहीं जाया जा सकता, तो कुछ एक्सक्यूज तो होना चाहिए. एक मर्तबा जो है मूसा इब्न जाफर को ले जा रहे हैं और जैसे ही रोज़ा रसूल के सामने रोज़ा अक़दस के रसूल के सामने से जा रहे थे, एक मर्तबा हाथों को बुलंद किया, या रसूलल्लाह मुझे माफ़ करिएगा, जो है वो आपके बेटे मूसा इब्न जाफर को ले जा रहे हैं क्योंकि वो जो है मदीना में फितना फैला रहे हैं. मदीने में फितना फैला रहे हैं. मूसा इब्न जाफर, हुज्जत ऑफ गॉड, यू योरसेल्फ हैज सेड ही इज द हुज्जत ऑफ गॉड अपॉन द अर्थ, और आप तो आज जो है वो तुम कह रहे हो कि जो है ये फितना बर्पा कर रहे हैं. मगर जस्टिफिकेशन तो होना है ना. और फिर ले गए जो है वो आखिरी 4 साल की बात कर रहे हैं हम, उसके बाद फिर मौला ने कभी जो है वो आज़ादी का जो है मज़ा नहीं चखा। मुसलसल जो है एक ज़िंदान से दूसरे ज़िंदान से तीसरे ज़िंदान। इसका भी राज है ना, क्योंकि हर ज़िंदान में जाते थे वो ज़िंदानबान को जो शिया बना देते थे। हर ज़िंदान में जाते थे वो ज़िंदानबान कितना भी कसीउल कल्ब हो, एक मर्तबा मुरीद बन जाता था इमाम का। अरे ये इंसान तो सजदे से सर नहीं उठाता। और हमारे पास है रिवायत, तुलुए फजर से लेके जोहर तक मौला सजदे की हालत में रहते थे। तुलुए फजर से लेके जो है वो जोहर तक मौला सजदे में रहते थे। ये है पिकअप द बुक्स एंड रीड। वो लोग देखते थे, जिंदानबान देखते थे, ये आदमी को हम किस तरह परेशान करें। खुद मुरीद बन जाते थे, खुद शिया बन जाते थे, खुद आसाइश देने लगते थे। जासूस बताते थे हारून रशीद को, ये शख्स भी गया, ये जिंदानबान भी शिया हो चुका, निकालो उसके कैद से दूसरे कैद में डालो। जब सब मुसलसल मुसलमान बनते गए, मौला के शिया बनते गए, मुरीद बनते गए, अब क्या किया जाए? एक ऐसे आदमी को दो कि मुसलमान ही ना हो। बिलखरे पहुंचे मौला उस जिंदानबान के कैद में जिसका नाम था सिंधी इब्न शाहिक। सिंधी इब्न शाहिक एक यहूद था। जब यहूद था तो दीन इस्लाम से क्या रब्त, जब यहूद था तो अल्लाह से क्या रब्त, जब दीन इस्लाम से वाबस्ता ही नहीं तो फिर जो है उसके सामने कोई तकवा और मुत्तकी और नमाज की कोई माना ही नहीं रखता। इतना अजियत करता था, इतना अजियत करता था। मौला सज्जा मौला इमाम काज़िम अलैहिस्सलाम के रिवायत के जुमले हैं, रिवायत के जुमले हैं। ये मौला जो है ना, ये अली के बेटे हैं, याद रखिएगा। वो असबरुस साबिरीन के बेटे हैं ये मौला। लेकिन जो है वो बाज़ अवक़ात आपको पता है ना, 19 शाबान और 19 माह रमज़ान और 21 माह रमज़ान में इंशाल्लाह जिक्र करेंगे बेशर्त क़ैद हयात, कि जिस तरह मौला दुआ करते थे या रसूलुल्लाह आप मुझे बुला लीजिए अपने पास, उसी तरह इमाम काज़िम अलैहिस्सलाम जो है वो अपनी मुनाजात में जो है मशगूल रहते थे। मैंने इब्तिदा में कहा कि बताऊंगा मैं किस तरह जो है अजियत होती थी। ये असबरुस साबिरीन का बेटा है, ये उसी का बेटा है, हुसैन का बेटा है, ये अली का बेटा है, ये वो हुसैन का बेटा है जिसकी सबर पर मलाइका जो है वो वलवला उठते थे, वलवला पैदा हो चुकी और रोज़ आशूर। लेकिन ये जब जिंदान में आते हैं तो रिवायत के जो है और तारीखी जो हवाला बयान होते हैं वो ये है कि दिन भर मुनाजात में लगते थे, मगर आखिरी अय्याम में हालत इस तरह हो गई कि जो है वो मुअर्रिखीन कहते हैं मौला इमाम काज़िम अलैहिस्सलाम की मुनाजात में जो एक तब्दीली आ गई। पहले जो है एक अजीब अंदाज से मुनाजात करते थे, लेकिन आखिर अय्याम में मुनाजात की जो है वो के एक रुख बदल गया। हाथों को बुलंद करते, ए मौला, ए परवरदिगार, तेरे मूसा इब्न जाफर को दुनिया से बुला ले। मुनाजात दर्ज है बिहारुल अनवार में, अल्लाहुम्मा नज्जिनी मिन सिजन हारून, परवरदिगार मुझे हारून के कैद से रिहाई दे दे। वो खल्लिसनी मिन यदिही, उसके कुदरत से मुझे खलास कर दे, मुझे आज़ादी दे दे। एक जो है वो मुनाजात खुदा के साथ खुदा की तारीफ। लेकिन एक ऐसा मकाम आता है कि खुद जो है अली का फर्जंद हाथ जोड़ के अल्लाह से कहता है अब मुझसे बर्दाश्त नहीं होता। यानी बर्दाश्त तो होता है लेकिन परवरदिगार तेरी मशीयत अगर जो है तो इस मूसा इब्न जाफर को बुला ले अपने पास। क्योंकि रिवायत के जुमले हैं हर रात को सिंदरी इब्न शाइख जो है वो कोड़े लेकर इतना जो है दुर्रे और कोड़े मारता था इमाम काज़िम अलैहिस्सलाम को कि बेहाल हो जाते थे। ये वो शख्स है कि दिन भर रोजा रखता था, ये वो शख्स है कि तुलुए फजर से लेकर जोहर तक सजदे की हालत में। लेकिन जब इफ्तार का वक्त होता था, इफ्तार में मुख्तसर सा खाना तो मिलता था लेकिन कोड़े बहुत ज्यादा पड़ते थे। हाथों को जोड़ते हैं, खल्लिसनी, मुझे बचा दे मेरे परवरदिगार, मुझे बचा दे। एक मर्तबा वो जहरालूद जो है वो खजूर दिया गया, मौला मसमूम होते हैं। एक मर्तबा जिंदान ही में है, एक मर्तबा जिंदान में मसमूम होते हैं। अब जो है जहर अपना असर कर देता है। अब जो है वो सब एजाज की बात नहीं करनी कि इमाम रज़ा किस तरह इमाम काज़िम अलैहिस्सलाम के पास आए और कैसे असरार इमामत इमाम काज़िम अलैहिस्सलाम से इमाम रज़ा में मुंतकिल हुई, वो तो आप जानते हैं। बस थोड़े मसाइब पढ़ने हैं और फिर जो है हुसैन का जिक्र करना है। एक मर्तबा जो है अबू जाफर सुलेमान ये कहता है कि मैं अपने कसर में था, मैंने देखा बाहर जो है वो बहुत जो है वो शोर शराबा हो रहा है, हंगामा हो रहा है। आवाज आई हादा इमामुर राफिदा,
अरे ये राफिजियों का इमाम। हमने पूछा कि ये क्या बात हो रही है। गुलामों ने आके कहा ये मूसा इब्न जाफर का जनाजा जा रहा, और आगे आगे हारून के जो सिपाही हैं वो जो है वो बेइज्जत करते हुए, हादा इमाम और राफिजियों का इमाम। एक मर्तबा जलाल आ गया, कहे जाओ उनके पास से वो लाशें को उठा लो, अपने कब्जे में ले लो और ले चलो कुरैश के कब्रिस्तान में। इसके गुलाम जाते हैं, हारून के आदमी को मारते हैं। अब सुलेमान जो है वो हारून के रिश्ते में लगता था, इसके लिए हारून कुछ ज़्यादा कह नहीं सका बाद में, लेकिन उसे छोड़िए। एक मर्तबा जनाजे को ले लिया गरीबाना वहाँ से, और आपको पता है ये जब आया था जसरे बगदाद पर, तो वहाँ जो है एक पुलिस का अड्डा था, वहाँ अड्डे पर रखा गया और 4 लोग ऐलान करने लगे, जिसको भी देखना है खबीस इब्ने खबीस, रसूल खुदा के फर्जन को खबीस इब्ने खबीस का लक़ब दिया जाता है। अरे सुलेमान से बर्दाश्त नहीं हुआ, जनाजे को लिया। यहाँ एक गुरेज कर लूं, अरे यहाँ भी जो है वो बेकसी से जो है मौला का जनाजा निकला। अरे लेकिन जो है यहाँ कोई बहन देखने वाली तो न थी ना, अरे कोई बेटी देखने वाली तो न थी ना, मगर हाय मेरा आका हुसैन गुदाले कत्लगाह में गिरा। अरे बहन देख रही थी, एक मर्तबा लाशे पे आती है और एक मर्तबा जुमला कहती है, ए भैया मैंने तुझे देखा, लेकिन क्या तू ही मेरा भाई है? और फिर रसूल खुदा से कहती है, ए बाबा मोहम्मदा सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, आप पर मलाइका सलाम भेजते हैं, ये आपका बेटा जो है खून में जो है गोतावर। फिर एक मर्तबा जनाजा इमाम काजिम को बड़ी शान और शौकत से बड़े मुजल्लल कफन से ले जाया गया, दफन कर दिया गया। और जो है वो एक नारा लगता था, जिसको भी देखना तैयब इब्ने तैयब, एक बेहतरीन फर्द जिसका जो बेटा है बेहतरीन फर्द, आके इमाम मूसा काजिम को देख ले। बड़ी शान और शौकत से इमाम का जनाजा दफन हुआ। मगर हाय मेरा हुसैन, अरे यहाँ एक फर्क आ गया। अरे 3 दिन का लाशा, गरम रेती, जलता हुआ सूरज, अरे सज्जाद पुकारते रह गए, हाय मेरा बाबा मैं कुछ न कर सका, हाय मेरा बाबा मैं कुछ न कर सका। وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون ألا ولعنة الله على القوم الظالمين. ماتم حسين.
हाय काज़िम, 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 हाय काज़िम। तू सातवां मुश्किल कुशा, नूरे जनाबे सैयदा, या मूसा काज़िम, 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 या मूसा काज़िम। तेरा बाबा इमाम सादिक है, जिसके दम से है जाफरी सारे, दीनों मजहब सबकी इबादत है, हमको साए उसी के दर से मिले, तू सातवां मुश्किल कुशा, नूरे जनाबे सैयदा, या मूसा काज़िम, 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 या मूसा काज़िम। सब मिलके या मूसा काज़िम, या मूसा काज़िम। है करामात मुर्तज़ा तुझ में, साइलों के भी है अता तुझ में, रज जो होती नहीं किसी सूरत, सांस लेती है वो दुआ तुझ में, तू सातवां मुश्किल कुशा नूरे जनाबे सैयदा, या मूसा काज़िम, या मूसा।
सब पढ़ो माशाल्लाह। या मूसा काज़िम, काज़िम।
तेरा बेटा इमाम ज़ामिन है, जिसके कब्ज़े में रात है दिन है, वो खुरासान का है शहज़ादा, हर शिफा उसके दर पे मुमकिन है, तू सातवां मुश्किल कुशा नूरे जनाबे सैयदा, या मूसा काज़िम, या मूसा काज़िम, या मूसा काज़िम,
या मूसा काज़िम।
तेरी दुख्तर है कुम की शाहजादी, उसकी चौखट पे दे सदा जो भी झोलियां अपनी भर के लाता है, गम से मिलती है उनको आजादी, तू सातवां मुश्किल कुशा नूरे जनाबे सैयदा, या मूसा काज़िम,
या मूसा काज़िम, या मूसा काज़िम।
तेरी ताबूत की वो तन्हाई, तेरी ताबूत की वो तन्हाई, ना था बेटा गरीब ना भाई, चंद मजदूर आई उजरत पर, लाश रस्ते से तेरी उठवाई, तू सातवां मुश्किल कुशा नूरे जनाबे सैयदा, या मूसा काज़िम,
या मूसा काज़िम,
या मूसा काज़िम,
या मूसा काज़िम।
अब्बास अलमदार, अब्बास अलमदार, अब्बास अलमदार, अब्बास।
सब नाम मौला माशाल्लाह। अब्बास अलमदार, अब्बासी अलमदार।
एक मश्क भरी नहर से एक मश्क दिया खून, जब मश्क छिदी बह गया सीने से तेरा खून, ज़ैनब ने कहा मारा गया मेरा मददगार, अब्बासी अलमदार, अब्बासी अलमदार,
अब्बास अलमदार,
अब्बास अलमदार। तुम बाजुए शबीर हो, हैदर के पिसर हो, लश्कर के अलमदार, सकीना का जिगर हो, जीते हैं तुम्हें देख के बस सैयद अबरार,
अब्बासी अलमदार, अलमदार,
अब्बासे अलमदार, अब्बा
अलमदार।
तुम फातिमा ज़हरा की दुआओं का असर हो, तुम धूप में ज़ैनब के लिए मिसल शजर हो, पर चमका फरेरा है तेरा ऐसा वादा,
अब्बास अलमदार, अब्बास अलमदार, अब्बास अलमदार।
पानी पे अलम तेरे सिवा किसने लगाया, मशकीज़े में दरिया को तुम्ही ने है उठाया, तुम लश्कर शबीर के हो है दर कर्रा,
अब्बास अलमदार, अब्बास अलमदार, अब्बास अलमदार।
मौला हक इमाम या हसन या हुसैन, मौला हक इमाम या हसन या हुसैन,
या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन।
वो आबिदे बीमार था,
वो आबिदे बीमार था,
वो चलने से जो लाचार था,
चलने से जो लाचार था,
और शाम का बाजार था, और शाम का बाजार था, और मुस्तफा की बेटियां मौला हक इमाम हसन या हुसैन, मौला हक इमाम या हसन या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन। शबीर की वो लाडली,
शबीर की वो लाडली,
सीने पे जो शाह के पली,
सीने पे जो शाह के पली,
जिसकी अबा बन में जली, जिसकी अबा बन में जली, मुंह पर तमाचों के निशान, मौला हक इमाम हसन या हुसैन, मौला हक इमाम हसन या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन। शबीर इब्ने फातिमा,
शबीर इब्ने फातिमा,
शेरे खुदा का लाडला,
शेरे खुदा का लाडला,
फौजे अदू में जब गिरा, फौजे अदू में जब गिरा, हर समत थी शोरो फुगा, या हुसैन,
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 या हुसैन।
मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद सलवात।
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम, अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। अस्सलामु अलैका या रसूल अल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या नबी अल्लाह, अस्सलामु अला अली अमीरुल मुमिनीन, अस्सलामु अला फातिमत अज़्ज़हरा सय्यदति निसाइल आलमीन, अस्सलामु अला खदीजतल कुब्रा उम्मुल मुमिनीन वल मुमिनात, अस्सलामु अला अबी तालिब, अस्सलामु अला मौलाय इमाम अल हसन अल मुज्तबा सिब्त रसूलिल्लाह व रैहानतिह व सय्यद शबाब अहलिल जन्नह, अस्सलामु अला इम्मतिल हुदा मिन वल्दिल हुसैन व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुह। अस्सलामु अलैका या अबा अब्दिल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या इब्न रसूलिल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुह। अस्सलामु अलैका या वारिथ आदम सफ़वतिल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या वारिथ नूहिन नबिय्यिल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या वारिथ इब्राहीम खलीलिल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या वारिथ मूसा कलीमिल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या वारिथ ईसा रूहिल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या वारिथ मुहम्मदिन हबीबिल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या वारिथ अमीरिल मुमिनीन वलिय्यिल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या इब्न मुहम्मदिन अल मुस्तफ़ा, अस्सलामु अलैका या इब्न अलीय्यिन अल मुर्तज़ा,
السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء، السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة، لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدلهمات ثيابها. وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين، وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي، وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا. وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وبإيابكم موقن، بشرائع ديني وخواتيم عملي، وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. زيارة حضرة علي أكبر عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها الشهيد وابن الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. زيارة الشهداء كربلاء. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباءه، السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وأوداءه، السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الولي الزكي الناصح، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله. بأبي أنتم وأمي طبتم، وطابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم، وفزتم فوزا عظيما، فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. زيارة أبو الفضل العباس عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس بن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن سيد الوصيين، السلام عليك يا ابن أول القوم إسلاما وأقدمهم إيمانا وأقومهم بدين الله وأحوطهم على الإسلام. أشهد لقد نصحت لله ولرسوله ولأخيك، فنعم الأخ المواسي. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة استحلت منك المحارم وانتهكت حرمة الإسلام. فنعم الصابر المجاهد المحامي الناصر، والأخ الدافع عن أخيه المجيب إلى طاعة ربه الراغب فيما زهد فيه غيره من الثواب الجزيل والثناء الجميل. وألحقك الله بدرجة آبائك في جنات النعيم. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. زيارة الإمام موسى بن جعفر الكاظم عليه السلام. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله وبالله وفي سبيل الله وعلى ملة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. والسلام على أولياء الله. السلام عليك يا نور الله في ظلمات الأرض، السلام عليك يا ولي الله، السلام عليك يا حجة الله، السلام عليك يا باب الله. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وتلوت الكتاب حق تلاوته وجاهدت في الله حق جهاده وصبرت على الأذى في جنبه محتسبا وعبدته مخلصا حتى أتاك اليقين. أشهد أنك أولى بالله وبرسوله وأنك ابن رسول الله حقا. أبرأ إلى الله من أعدائك وأتقرب إلى الله بموالاتك. أتيتك يا مولاي عارفا بحقك مواليا لأوليائك معاديا لأعدائك فاشفع لي عند ربك. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. أشهد أنك صادق أديت ناصحا وقلت أمينا ومضيت شهيدا. لم تؤثر عمى على الهدى ولم تمل من حق إلى باطل. صلى الله عليك وعلى آبائك وأبنائك الطاهرين. اللهم إليك اعتمدت وإليك قصدت وبفضلك رجوت. وقبر إمام الذي أوجبت علي طاعته زرت وبه إليك توسلت. فبحقهم الذي أوجبت على نفسك اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يا كريم. اللهم قد علمت حوائجي فصل على محمد وآل محمد واقضها. اللهم قد أحصيت ذنوبي فبحق محمد وآل محمد صل على محمد وآل محمد واغفرها وتصدق علي بما أنت أهله. شكرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا مولاي ابن مولاي غريب الغرباء. السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء. السلطان أبا الحسن علي بن موسى الرضا كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا حجة الله في الأرض يا صاحب العصر والزمان. سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان يا إمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك واجعلنا من أنصارك وأعوانك وشيعتك ومحبيك ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن